when looking at the plaintiff case versus the city of Live Oaks, in the end, the city had won the case and the ordinance stayed in place. There's still no cultivation of marijuana, whether it's for medicinal purposes or recreational purposes. Now, I think this is a hard case to look at. I think that there's strong points on both sides. I think it's very hard to take just one side or the other without kind of weighing the options and kind of seeing where you should really meet. And I think that a good place for this case to be resolved would be right in the middle of this. But I would have to disagree and go against what the judge had ruled and everything that come from it. I think that they should be able to cultivate marijuana, especially, well, only for medicinal purposes. I think that that is kind of where it should have met in the middle. I think that if only the people who have a medical card and have a legitimate illness that they need the marijuana and can help them, because marijuana, there's certain benefits that no other drug can get, and it's one of the healthiest ways to get that, rather than taking a pill. So I think that if there was met somewhere in the middle, something like where people who have a medical card and have a legitimate illness are allowed to cultivate the marijuana, whereas the recreational use, you're not allowed to grow it. I think that this would kind of cut back on the crime rates. I think that the people wouldn't have huge grow houses or anything like that. They could have a simple one plant for their medical purposes, and that would be enough. But I think that would cut back to keep the crime rate down. I think that it wouldn't cause a lot of electrical damages or anything along those lines. But I see where the city is coming from, saying that this isn't really helping us. This is kind of deteriorating the city and making it increasing crime rates, increasing robberies, and everything like that. So I think it's hard. I think it's a hard place to come from, and I think it's a tough case. When looking at this case from a healthcare provider standpoint, you always want the best possible care for your patient. And if being able to cultivate the marijuana within the home and allows them to have access to this medicine without having to pay for it all the time, or having to pay less for it, is a better way to put it, then why wouldn't you want that for your patient? Why wouldn't you want to do that? Now, in this case, this isn't necessarily involving the healthcare providers with it, but the city probably isn't looking at that from a healthcare provider standpoint, which is another reason why I think I debate against the outcome of this case, is that there's so many other benefits that could have come from this, and they're only looking at the negative aspects of it rather than looking at it from multiple different viewpoints and perspectives. And when we look at ethics, you have to take that and look at it from not only where you're standing, but where someone else is standing, or where this person is coming from, rather than just sitting where you are and looking down on the situation. For plaintiffs, use of marijuana is all for his medicinal purposes, so I completely understand where he was coming from and wanting to have this, having easy access to this medicine that they can use all the time and everything. So, and like again, it's a tough place to be in, but I think that overall they should legalize the cultivation of marijuana, but only for medicinal purposes. I don't think that it should be cultivated for recreational purposes. I think that it should be used just for that medical purposes for people who have Parkinson's and any other disease along those lines, where that can be extremely beneficial to them. It's a good solution for these kind of problems for these people, and then we're taking that away from them.